hi.
Hi, how you doing, Catherine? Good to see you.
Great. So tell me a little bit about yourself and some of your history and what led you to where we are right now.
Okay. Reader's Digest version, real quick. Born back east, wound up migrating over here to Los Angeles, went to high school, went to John Marshall High School, Tony A. Angelo, but everybody knew he was Juan, and made everything happen real quick. Drama became a first thing in my life. Gerald Weinsberg said, "Hey, I'm going to teach you how to speak like a human being." And of course, the first part he gives me after doing that is Guys and Dolls playing Big Jewel. But I understood why he did it. His method to his method was get to the top. Where it leads me here now is my passion for John Marshall High School. Listen, I'd like to give something back to the school. It gave a lot back to me. When I really thought about it, warts and all, it was the best experience of my life. So through Paleface, which is the production that we're working on right now, we'd like to give back to John Marshall High School. And I'm asking you, alumni out there, let's get back to the school. We'd like to film there and make things happen. But I think Catherine has a couple more questions.
So why did you choose John Marshall High as a location for filming? What makes this school unique compared to other potential locations?
That's a great question, actually. Yeah, and the answer is real simple. Well, first, I think it's passion for this school, the history. It's been around for so long. It's historic. Probably one of the most famous schools around, but also more important is it has so much depth, so much character. So what we have now is a school which we can actually film and have it double for multiple different colleges, universities throughout the U.S. And at the same time, kind of giving back to John Marshall High School. So it's our way of saying, hey, thank you for giving us a great education. That's kind of how it is to us. Yeah.
Tell me about some of the productions or different shows or the things that you have pictures of that you remember from John Marshall High.
Yeah, what's really neat is well, we have photos that go back, let's say, from they did everything from Bye Bye Birdie. They did Grease. They wound up doing Guys and Dolls, which I'm very happy I was in. I played Big Jewel. But it was amazing. But we did so many plays. Of course, we did Oliver. That was just a blast. To just play an urchin was just incredible. And so many people in there, and a lot of good friends that were in there, and what have you. And there's some pictures of it, of course. What Joe Buford's in there as well, and of course Steve Meek, and the list goes on. And oh my gosh, Patrick, and you're looking at, of course, Ackerman. It just goes on. Michalak. I mean, the names are amazing. All these amazing, Cleaver King. All these amazing actors were back then. Jerry Berger, if I may. It's endless as far as the talent that actually was in some of these plays. We literally were working with some amazing prime talent. Another reason why, again, so much great talent has come out of John Marshall High School. I really truly equated to these great plays and musicals and drama, one-act plays, small theater on the stage. That really kind of made you go outside the scope. Again, with Mr. Weinsberg, he always wanted us to, do the best that we can. And he was a method actor and I was a practical actor. And he told me how he envied that. And I said, why? He says, well, I've got to be the character all day. I've got to feel, breathe, think this character. He says, you could be out there with your buddies talking nonsense, come inside, play the part perfectly, walk outside, play the nonsense, come back in. My goodness gracious, I couldn't do that. I said, well, it's poetic justice, Mr. Weinsberg. So it's the things he taught me and the wonderful things that I went there. But the shows, the plays were a blast. Again, from Oliver to Grease. There's so many more shots that we have in there. I'm forgetting, but I mean, we'll put them out there, and people are gonna have people pointing at each other and know what they were. So again, it's just the talent is really what it was all about. And as you can tell, it is very passionate to me, and it was a lot of fun. So that's how I feel about the plays and shows. And again, the future of today, these wonderful people and these hardworking teachers that are just doing the great job that they do. And again, we'd like to give back to them too, because teachers, uh, underpaid, overworked, and underappreciated. So I'm glad that there's a few of us that who are alumni who care about these teachers and gave back. So, one last shout out was to Miss Walker, actually, who we all knew from King Junior High School. And the reason I bring her up is many of us who wound up working in Marshall High in the acting department was thanks to her who inspired us. So just had to bring her up as well. Anyway, thank you so much, Catherine. I appreciate you asking that question.
Thank you. Could you share with me some of the nostalgic moments as an alum of John Marshall High? What are some of your fondest memories, or are there specific spots at the school that hold a particular significance to you? And are you excited to showcase any of those in the film?
Yeah, that's a loaded question there. Yeah, that school, if I may, has so many nooks and crannies, if I may. I played football as well, so of course the football field has a lot of memory to us. The gym, let's face it, the gym is a blast. We had a lot of games in there, and of course they wound up filming Grease a couple of years after I graduated. So, but also the auditorium itself was just amazing. Going to the foyer, you become a little kid again. Going downstairs, where I had psychology fifth period and of course drama sixth period. So we stayed there for quite some time after that, and everything else about it, the hallways just have this amazing sound and feel when you walk in there. You just know that you're in history. That's really something very important to us and to myself personally. Absolutely.
So there seems to be some famous alumni that have come out of this school too. Do you think that the spirit and the history of the school has influenced some of that, or the story, the atmosphere? Is that something that you hope to capture within the film you're wanting to do, Paleface, as well?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. Because we've had from Academy Award winning nominated actors to, of course, I'm very proud to say, Mr. Andy Reid. All right, Andy Reid, who had the blessing of knowing this gentleman from junior high school and high school, and of course after that he's now become an amazing coach we're proud of. And so you've had Leonardo DiCaprio, and it just goes on. So many different people who went to the school. And what's really nice about it is that it was always a learning for us. When we see them doing productions at school, they made it a point to interact with the drama class, and so have the actors come in and say hello to us. So that was really, really kind of nice. It was our safe haven, kind of like, may sound corny, like Safe Harbor Films. It was our own safe harbor where we're able to go and hang out and just kind of be ourselves. Kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you see the alumni from John Marshall High contributing to the project Paleface? What impact do you think their involvement could have on the film's production and reception?
Well, that's very, very important to me because, what I would love to do is just really to appeal to this. If you ever want to give back to the school, and it's not just monetarily, you're giving back something that'll be important, because this is where we've all had history. Whether you were graduated in 1900, what have you, when it started, all the way up to now, if I may, you have some history with this school here. As an alumni, it's a nice way of being able to keep it in the family, so to speak. And as alumni, we can all contribute in our own way, make a donation to a cause that basically in the long run, you could see where their donation goes to. And we will definitely be helping everyone who's in the area. That's important to us, as well as not going from outside, but staying within inside and helping out, not just ourselves, but make sure that we help the curriculum, the teachers, and so on.
Can you give us a brief overview of what Paleface is and what about it drew you to the story?
Well, thank you very much. Paleface. A long time ago, from day one, when Bill Kilpack III, who is an amazing writer, just an amazing human being, really is, got a hold of this. And it's really a short story, so to speak. It's 100 pages in a book But in those 100 pages, there's just incredible vision. Of course, it deals with the Native American Navajo, and which is an amazing, amazing culture in the Native American lifestyle today. But their language is almost being lost completely. But at the same time, it's something else that I kind of need for us, and a lot of alumni out here is it's got that UFO thing. It's basically what happens when we encounter, but it's the story of Hector Whitehorse and his journey, his adventure. And we want to take everyone on our journey together and have you see where Hector Whitehorse goes. And of course, we can do it here at John Marshall High School, at least quite a bit of it.
So you would classify this as a action thriller? Or what genre? It's sci-fi?
Action thriller and science fiction, absolutely, yes. It's one of those things that is intelligently written. The screenplay is unbelievable. It's an amazing piece, and it's one of those that makes you question as well as get the answers. But at the end, you're always questioning, which is important for us. So, you know, it isn't just your typical movie. It has a little depth behind it, which is important for us. Yes.
What makes this project stand out in the current film landscape?
Well, that's a great question, if I may. The beauty about this is the fact that we are now at this moment, we're living in a culture where we're really, truly, once again, understanding the Native American. And what's beautiful about it is because our dedication to absolute authenticity, everything from the language, everything that is true Navajo, we want to make sure that we respect it. And right now, from a couple points of view, from a passion point of view, it's a great way of doing this. But unfortunately, we always have to talk about money, investments, and donations. It's a pretty good, shall we say, the odds are in our favor better than most. But again, nothing is guaranteed. Don't want to make that statement. But if you look at the atmosphere out there with Taylor Sheridan putting out all the projects right now, if I may, it's just tremendous. Lily Gladstone getting the Golden Globe, first Native American in history, if I may. That's an amazing feat. And we have a young lady who's going to be governor, perhaps, who's going to be the first Native American governor, depending on what happens. But it's something that's very important. So the beauty about it is it's a great thing to do for passion first, because it should always feel like something that feels good to you. If it doesn't feel good to you, don't do it, because that's the way that I think. But if it feels right and you're doing something for a good cause, and inadvertently you're doing something good back for your school or back for your kids, because I look at it this way: everything that I have goes to my grandkids now. So we have grandkids, we have little bambinos, big bambinos, they're always going to be children to me. And it's a way of giving back to them as well. Why not? Pass something to the lineage. Family first. I look at it.
So what do you feel is the potential impact of this film on the film industry, particularly regarding representation and cultural storytelling?
Thank you much for asking that question. That's key to us, if I may. In an era where we're so used to, it's only lately, but in an era where we always got to see a story about Native Americans, and it was such a typical type of story, if I may, that really was not made from the inside as a rule of the Native American. It's made from the outside by someone who thinks this is how they act, think, what have you. We're very lucky, Mr. Calnez, who is just the consultant with our company now, who also happens to be a dear friend growing up with Bill Kilpack III. He is a stickler. Once he got the script, we gave him full reign to make sure he told us exactly to make it perfect as far as the culture, the words, every nuance. So that's important to us. So the culture right now is to let's re-examine once again the Native American, and let's start making more stories from their points of view, in my opinion, because they have a lot of great stories to tell.
Okay, and tell us who Calnez is.
Calnez is amazing. He is the consultant for Safe Harbor Film. And he basically is the gentleman who is now making sure that when we go to film on location in New Mexico, Calnez is a representative who is the, shall we say, the ambassador to the native tribal lands, the schools, the communities, which is important because we want to be able to film in areas where, as a rule, you're not allowed to film, or when they film, it's usually not really what they intended. So we're able to get to the nitty gritty, so to speak. So when we're doing a scene dealing with a medicine man, if I may, that Hector has to consult, we're going to be on Native American land, and we'll be dealing with the real deal, so to speak. So we're preferring to, and one thing we will be doing is the actors that are Native American are Native American. We're definitely going to make sure that we want to make sure we are authentic there. You can't say you get a story and the guy's last name is, differently than what it should be. So we want to make sure that we are authentic and true to the nature, to the people, and to the culture completely that we'd like to do.
Is there any last thing you want to tell the alumni of John Marshall High about your project or anything else?
Thank you very much. Real quick, if you're all in my age group, you may remember this, but many, many years ago, a colleague of mine, we wanted to raise money for John Marshall High School. As you all well know, Proposition 13 had changed everything. So we felt we were going to go out and make some money and raise some money for the school painting curbs. Well, one thing led to another, and it snowballed pretty well, and we raised a few $1,000s back then. A few years later, I'm a little older, and I get to do something for the school again. I'm working at a U-Haul of all places. We're told to empty out a warehouse. And guess what was in this warehouse? Stage lighting, stage rigging, scaffolding, and curtain. Well, of course, I said, I got to take this. We're going to donate it because they were going to throw this away. I took it to Mr. Weinsberg right away in our U-Haul truck. I had the paperwork, and I said, Mr. Weinsberg, I want to give this to you. And he looked at me and he says, is it hot? I said, no. It was funny because he was happy, but he seemed a little disappointed. He wanted a little adventure there. But it was things I was able to do when I was young. And first time is raising money, painting curves. Second time, I get to give them something that they actually use. And if there's something I can do as a third time now at 67 years old, is give back to not just that, but culture, history, and my way of saying thank you, John Marshall High School. And you know what, Gerald Weinberg, it wasn't hot, it was great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you so much.